How we doing, everybody? It's the Saints man, the van driver on the CX and off the CX as well. It's Saturday the 19th, 3:15 in the afternoon. I'm in the bedroom whilst watching a film. We're just chilling. We watched the Lions this morning win the first test, and I did a little job this morning for a friend, helping him shift a couple of bits of furniture. We did it in one trip in the van, just local. Yeah, got a settee and we got a bed base and we got them in the van in one go. So only one trip needed. But week in the life last week, the best week I've had all year. Yeah, really good week. Did a fair bit of mileage, and that's what it's about. I started my week actually. Let's go with the fuel. My fuel was 111.59, which works out about 133, 134. And I got a job I picked up on Friday, so a week last Friday, and it was going to Scotland up to just north of Glasgow for Monday morning. So I started my week on Sunday, last Sunday. We went to Stratford races, me and my wife, two friends. They went in the car, I went in the van. I stayed until the fifth race, and then I drove up to Abingdon Services, days in. Um, I could do a little video about hotels. I stopped in Daisy on Sunday night. Sunday night hotels are really cheap, and the reason being, businessmen, contractors work Monday to Friday normally, and people come home on a Sunday if they're on holiday. So I got the days in for £39.95. I don't know why it weren't 40 quid, but that's what it was, and it was ideal. I got there at 10 at night after 5 hours trundling up the motorway and slept like a log. Um, Delivered the double pallet to some riggers on site north of Glasgow. It was chucking it down about 8:30, 8:45, and went to the nearest Morrison's, which was still north of Glasgow. And a job come on from Clydebank to Renfrew, and it was a short wheelbase job, 2 pallets of printing, and I think it was 16 miles. I quoted 45 quid because there was nothing coming south at that time, and got it. And picked the 2 pallets up. Nice easy job actually. Went okay. Apart from the other end when he tried to take 2 pallets off at once instead of just pulling the second pallet to the back of the van. He thought he could lift them both off, and he couldn't. And he dropped the one off the front. He hadn't got enough of it, and it dropped off. Luckily, he didn't damage my van. His boss had a bit of a fit. Said a lot of words, very Scottish dialects I couldn't understand, but they wasn't polite, let me tell you. But anyway, the printing was all right. It was cling wrapped and it had just fell and it weren't damaged. But yeah, just annoying for him. But I did get a job, and I quoted on it, and it was Glasgow, and it was going to Swanley, which is south of Dartford Bridge, and it was picking up just one item, and it was from near Glasgow Airport, just round the back of Glasgow Airport, and it was just one item, small van. I quoted pretty good money actually on this. Not too, for Scotland anyway. I think it was about 74 pence, something like that, 75 pence a mile. And I was going to stay out. I was going to take it to Swanley. It had to be delivered to a storage depot, meeting a driver down in Swanley, and I was going to get there, I don't know, at 9 o'clock at night. So it was going to be a late one, and I would have kept in the van. Anyway, I picked the item up, no problem at all. And I was on my way down the motorway, down the M74, and I was on my way, and I was about 10 miles short of Carlisle. And the phone went, and it was the shipper saying they've got another item that needs picking up. I went, great. I said, I am actually in 2 hours away. I've drove 2 hours. He said, I know. He said, what can we do? He says, can you pull over in Carlisle, and I'll get a driver from Glasgow to bring it down to you, to save you driving 2 hours back, and then, instead of being 4 hours out, if I can get a driver to get it to you within, say, next 25 minutes, you're only going to lose 2 hours 25, and I'll pay you the waiting. And I went, yep, that's fine. So I pulled over. There's a massive Tesco's, junction 43 and the M6, and Carlisle. It's literally opposite the cattle market. Big Tesco. So I pulled in there and waited, and he phoned me up quite quickly. He said, I've got a driver on it and he's on his way. He's picking it up. He's going to be with you in 2 hours. I said, okay. So I says what my waiting time, what my time was. He was fine. He says no problem. And I said, when I've loaded, I'll let you know how long it's going to be. But it's going to be, we could be talking sort of 11:30, 12 o'clock at night at this rate. So he says, right, let me have a little think. Anyway, the item arrived. Got a little van come down in a Renault Kangoo. A Renault, yeah, Kangoo, bit, I don't know, Bipper, very small van. And I picked the other item up. But when I was going to get to Swanley, phone the shipper up. He says, you're meeting my driver anyway. He said, I'm going to get my driver to come north, so you're not driving so long. I said, okay. And he says, where do you want to end up? I said, well, it'd be nice to end up in Northampton, but you just tell me what's good. He goes, no, if you waive the waiting time, the 2 hours, I'll get my driver to drive to Northampton services and meet you, and he'll be there before you. I'm not going to argue with that. So I waived the waiting time. He still paid me the full amount which I was going to get to Swanley. So it worked out really well for me. And I met his driver at 9:15. So I would have been in Swanley by about 11:30 at night, and I'd have been skipping in the van miles from home. Instead, I was in the house at 9:15. So brilliant Monday, Sunday, Monday. I did 810-mile round trip in 2 days, but it was very well paid both ways. So, and Tuesday, I got a job. I went and slept down and booked nothing in, and a job come on Tuesday. I was just going to do a small run job. I'd got to get back Tuesday because I'd got Wednesday off. We got family commitments to do Wednesday, so I couldn't work. And a job come on Northampton to Sheffield. I just woke up and I put a quote on it, and I got the job. And it was picking up at 8 o'clock. I was awake at 7, showered, and I picked it up at 8 o'clock. Went up to Sheffield, dropped it in Sheffield, and I was looking for one load back. And the load back I got was from Sheffield to Leicester, and it was from to Meadow Hall Shopping Centre, which at the back, if you don't know where you got to pick it up from, it's a bloody nightmare. I went to gate 4 and it was at gate 5, and we got there. We got it picked up. Took about 25 minutes to sort it all out because I hadn't got the proper info. And when I got towards High Cross, I phoned the store up and they told me which gate to go in, gate C. Good job they did, because I wouldn't have gone that gate. And I had to go through a myriad of corridors around the back and found where I got to go in Leicester to drop it off. That's all I did. I drove home and I was home by 3:15, so I was finished. So it was a shorter day, 7-hour day. So that was good. Wednesday I had off, which went fine. And Thursday I decided I was virtually on target, not far off target for the week anyway. And I decided I didn't want to do massive long distance if I could. And I got a job booked in. I got a phone call on Wednesday afternoon. Would I be interested in picking them up in Newport Pagnell to Cheltenham, which I did. That was just 2 boxes, nice and easy, wasn't too difficult. It was a sink and some taps to bathroom, kitchen, like design shop. And then I got a job straight away from Gloucester to Cambridge, which is good for me because obviously I was coming back towards the east where I am. Put good money on all these jobs, and when I got to Cambridge, I'd done the delivery. It was the other side of Cambridge, about 5 miles, and I was coming up towards Cambridge on 14, and a job come up from just outside Cambridge, and it was going to Northampton. No, not just outside Cambridge. That's a lie. I drove past Cambridge, and I was on my way up the A14, and a job come out of Kettering to Northampton, short wheelbase, 2 pallets. I put a big quote in on that. Didn't expect to get it, and I did get it. I'll tell you, I put in £55 for 16 miles, and I got it. And it was easy. It was from a distribution centre just off the A14, and they were waiting to load, and yeah, took it straight to Northampton. I was going there anyway, and they took them off, the pallets off. So cracking day Thursday. Didn't expect it, but got it. Friday, I wasn't gonna. I didn't know whether to work or not because I was actually over target, but I thought no, I will. And Friday morning, a job was on there. No, yeah, no, Thursday night, a job come on there, and it was to Wymondham near. I don't think I'm pronounced that right, but that's the way I pronounce it. Wymondham near Norwich, picking up from Bedford, and it was my side of Bedford. So I put a quote in it on it lateish Thursday night, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I got a phone call, and they says, "Are you all right for this job in the morning?" And it was picking up at 6:30, and I went, "Yeah." I thought I'm just going to drive to Wymondham, and I'm driving home, and I don't really care if I get, that's going to be just one nice drive, done. And I delivered to this woman. I've delivered to the East Coast quite a lot, around Norwich. I've done quite a lot of deliveries. I've never seen a job come out of Wymondham. It's not massive. I dropped off air conditioning units in a little industrial estate, and a job come on from Wymondham to Daventry. You couldn't make it up. I knew the shipper, and it was literally 400 yards from where I was. I phoned them up. The shipper said, "I just tipped. I'll do it for you, and I'll do it. What rate are you looking for?" I said, "I can do it for this rate," which was still 85p a mile. And he went, "That's great. I'll send it over." He said, "I've had a couple of cheaper ones, but they're an hour away." He said, "I can see where you are on the tracker. I'll send it over." And so I knew the shipper, it helped. And all I picked up was three small bits of fiberglass to Woodford House, which I delivered to before. It's a village near Daventry. And it was brilliant. It couldn't have worked out any better Friday. I was finished Friday at 1:45, and that included having a stop. And when I delivered Woodford House, I pulled over at a stop, looking for work for Monday. I couldn't have anything on the van because I did the little job today, Saturday. I've got to have the van empty, and I've got a job for Monday, picking up out of Corby at 7 o'clock, going to Solihull. So we're sorted for Monday. Fantastic week. Fantastic. Best week I've had all year. Best week. I've had a couple of weeks bigger than this. Last September, I can remember, I had two mega weeks. I did 1,660 miles in total. That's over 5 days. Although I started Sunday, I had Wednesday off. So 5 days. Did 45-hour week, which is not bad. Average 9 hours a day. So this is including Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I did 35 and a quarter hours driving, so I did quite a lot of driving. And my money was £1,411. Plus VAT brings it up to £1,693 20 pence. Take off the 10%, 169.32, brings it out at 1,523.88. So a mega week. Yes, I did a fair few miles, but it still come out at 92 pence a mile, every single mile. I didn't have many dead miles, to be fair, not many at all. Leicester to Northampton was a dead mile. I did a little bit between Cambridge and Burton Latimer, and a little bit from Daventry back. I didn't have a lot of dead miles at all, which helps. Average per day worked out at 304.77, so a good week. Um, I was knackered. I was absolutely knackered yesterday when I got home. And oh, hang on, let's bring it a bit closer. Yep, I'm lounging on the bed now. We're going out to a wedding reception tonight, so we're chilling. Go have a little doze, I think, after this. But it was a good week. I did some more short wheelbase van jobs than I have done. Just how it works out. And Mondays is a short wheelbase van job, so slightly more money. But all good. So I hope you're having a great week. I hope everyone else had a great week, and I hope you're having a good weekend. I'm back to work Monday morning, and it's a full week as far as I can tell. I haven't got any restrictions at the moment, so we'll see. So have a great week, and we'll speak soon. Remember to like, please subscribe. I'm up to 1,330 something. I've just looked before I did this, which is amazing. But please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. I do try and answer all your questions. I've had a few questions which I've answered. I get even the negative comments. I'll answer. I may not agree, or we may have a back and forth, but I will try and answer. If there's any insulting ones or nasty ones or not along with it's called community guidelines, if there's anything that's not, then they won't get answered. They won't go on there. But I don't. If it's negative comments, it's fine. People have different opinions. This is my opinion. So, that's what I'm giving you, my opinion on what I do. Um, I'm just going to put a few more hooks in the van this weekend. I got some come through, 3 or 4, and I bought 2 more retractable ratchet straps. I've got 2 retractable ones, and I've got ordinary ratchet straps, which are the manual ones. But I bought another 2 retractable ones because they're just fantastic bits of kit. They really do what I need them to do. So I might show you a video of them next week if I've got time. So anyway, like I say, rambled on 15, 16 minutes nearly. So have a great weekend.